Hello, and today on 8-Bit Geology, I am calling bullshit on the modern tectonic plate theory. Um, yeah, ever since you first learned about this tectonic process, this didn't look right to me. It just doesn't look right. It's just plummeting straight into the mantle. I don't think this is definitely not happening. Definitely not. This defies physics. Okay, this so-called lithosphere, which we will call the oceanic, just an oceanic plate. Um, I mean, it is lighter than the asthenosphere, or if you wanted to call it the mantle or whatever it was. Um, so it's impossible for it to get plunged like this. Um, the ocean crust is just the softer sediment that's getting scraped on the continental crust. It's just that all the continental crust is a buildup, metamorphic buildup of the softer ocean sediment that's on top of the plate. But the process looks nothing like this at all. It probably looks more like this. Sorry for the crude um, paint, uh, my crude paint job here, but if you'll understand what's going on here, this is probably more like what's happening. You got the Pacific plate pushing in, and the North American plate is just floating on top of this plate, of the Pacific plate. And while the Pacific plate's getting pushed under, it's not subducting. It's just getting shoved under this plate straight, and it's colliding with other plates over here as well. And this is the North American plate's just free on top, but it's just piled up ocean sediment. And there's probably a lot more going on here, but this is just the best crude demonstration I can come up with. You got the hot spot here, all the friction is of it going under the plate, which is creating the volcanoes, and it probably has a lot to do with the pressure being pushed up on the sediment here. And then I imagine that since the Pacific plate is probably breaking as it's getting pushed under there, it's probably dissolving into the mantle, or the asthenosphere, whatever we want to call it these days. And this collision here, this is the main collision. This is why we have the Yellowstone hotspot. All the pressure, and there's multiple plates coming into contact, and there's not just one Pacific plate either. Let me open Google Earth here, and if it'll open. There we go. Alright, startup tips, thank you. Get out. Well, you're going slow today, Google Earth. Okay. Let's just take a look at this for a second. Okay. There are distinct plates here. This is a separate plate. This is a separate plate. This is a separate plate. And this is a separate plate. And this is a separate plate. And then this is a separate plate. So there are multiple plates that make up the so-called Pacific plate. Now, I mean, it's obvious, because this plate, we'll call it the San Andreas plate. That's what I'm going to name it. Because San Andreas fault was a strike slip. Okay. Which means it's being pushed. And it's being pushed to the north. Because there's a tremendous amount of pressure from these plates being pushed against the Caribbean plate, which is being shoved up under the continental crust. And the collision, I mean, it's obvious. This is being pushed north, the San Andreas plate. It's being pushed into this plate, or possibly under it, and we'll call this the northern plate. Or if you really want to call it the North American plate, whatever. This is being pushed up under this plate. And so there's a tremendous amount of pressure somewhere in this area. Tremendous amount of pressure. You got this plate under the continental crust colliding with all these plates. I mean, you can see the boundaries of these plates even on the land. I mean, there's a rift here, right? That's the Idaho Rift or whatever. The Boise Rift. I don't know. But the Boise Rift comes down like this, right? And then this one comes up like this. There's a fault here. There's also a fault comes up like this, and it's all being squished right into this area. This is why the Yellowstone hotspot's there, from all the pressure. And the reason we don't physically see a rift, because it was all erased by the eruption of Yellowstone under the North American ice sheet. Watch my previous videos. And I mean, there's distinct fault lines. I got a couple mapped out. Okay. These are obviously fault lines. Definitely fault lines. So this is an active fault. Or once active. I mean, it's dormant now. And then even if you follow this plate here, there's hot spots. And you can see them going up this way. This is another rift in the plates. We think they're dormant, but I think the process is much slower. I mean, these are old calderas. We can agree. This is a hot spot, just like the rift in right here. All these plates are just converging right here and being smashed under the North American plate. So I'm calling bullshit on the modern theory of plate tectonics. I have given these plates names. This is the Alaskan plate. This is the San Andreas plate. This is the Baja plate. This is the Mexican plate. This is the Panama plate. So yeah, so calling bullshit on the modern theory. I never once believed it. Because you can't tell me that the oceanic crust is light enough to float in the asthenospheres till it gets here, then it gets sucked. Like, that doesn't make sense. It wouldn't do that. So basically, this might be a correct model, but this abduction bullshit is stupid. It's these are one lithosphere, one plate. It's one single plate, and this is just the looser sediment on top that's being smashed, and you know the plate is probably being smashed as well. It's like a crumple zone. Is what's going on. I mean, it's not done by subduction only. It's done because there's a massive crumple zone of many plates converging together. And what I'm going to call a new type of fault, and that's a collision fault. I don't know if probably named out there, but it's where where many faults or plates come together, and they don't have room to move. They can't strike slip. There's no subduction. They're equally buoyant, so they're just smashing into each other, creating magma from the pressure. The pressure has got to go somewhere, and it turns into heat, and that heat creates lava, and that lava, due to pressure, gets forced to the surface. So, well, that's what I think of the modern theory. I've always thought about that in the modern theory. I just, never accepted that as truth. If you disagree, like, comment, or just comment. I don't want likes. I don't care if you subscribe. Just challenge my my theories, please. Thanks for watching.